video, I want to walk you through 5 finance tips that a lot of graduate students don't know, but can really help you start managing your finances and preparing for the future in your finances while you're still in grad school. If you don't know me, I am Dr. Lena Reister. I got my PhD in chemistry, and on this channel, I create videos to help other graduate students and researchers become more efficient. So in this video, I really want to walk you through to make sure that you understand these 5 different tips so that you can start being able to manage your finances. Obviously, a lot of graduate students do not get very good stipends to live on. Sometimes you may be working a second job. You might have to live in a high cost of living area. And I'm not going to pretend that any tips in here is suddenly going to offset that or anything like that. These are just tips that I found that a lot of my colleagues in graduate school actually didn't know about, and that this might actually help you set yourself up for better success with your finances while going through this difficult financial time. So the very first tip is to get a high yield or high interest savings account. So if you just have a bank account and you go to any, big bank, especially in America, like a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, anything like that, and you just go in and open a savings account, usually it's going to give you a very low interest rate, which means for the money that you're holding in that savings account, you're going to get very little interest added to it versus a high yield or high interest savings account. So when I first started in grad school, I had a savings account with Wells Fargo, and I think it had about a 0.1% APY, which means that I would get about 0.1% of the money that was within the account over a year. So if I had $100 in the account, I would get 10 cents over a year of holding it in there. I have since actually switched to a Capital One 360 savings account, and I'll leave a link below if you're interested in checking that out. But that actually gives a 1.9% APY, which means instead of 10 cents, I'm getting $1.90 for that same year for the exact same amount of money I'm holding within my savings account. So if you just have a normal savings account right now, I would really suggest looking into getting a high yield savings account. And a couple things you want to watch out here for is to make sure that there are no fees associated with your account and no minimums associated with your account. In my Capital One 360 Performance Savings account, there's no minimum, which means even if my savings account was at $0, I had to pull everything out. I'm not going to get assessed any fees for that or anything like that. And there's no fees. So I don't, like for my Wells Fargo account, I had to keep a certain amount in there without it getting a fee, or I had to deposit a certain amount without it getting a fee. So there's no maintenance fees and there's no minimums. So all of your money you have access to. So it's the exact same as what you're doing right now. If you have a savings account, you're just going to end up getting more money for the money that you have in there. If you don't have a savings account, I highly recommend starting one so that you have something for when emergencies happen, or you need to go to a conference and your school does the reimbursement process instead of actually paying for it or anything like that. And just start trying to put a little bit away at a time. You don't need to say, okay, I'm going to save $100 a month. Maybe try to save 5 to 10% of your stipend, and just so that that can start building over time. And go ahead and open up one of these savings accounts so that you can start building it and it's there. The second tip is to get a high reward credit card. My very first credit card I got in college, and it had about a 0.5% cash back program on select things. So I think it was like dining and gas and shopping. You got 0.5% back that you could then apply to your credit card bill or use as rewards to get other things. So while that's great, it meant that however much I spent on that, I was getting, a 0.5% discount. I've since moved over to a Capital One credit card, and I will actually have that linked down below as well if you're interested in the credit card that I specifically have. So the credit card I currently have is the Quicksilver card, and that actually gives me a 1.5% cash back. So if I spend $100 on my credit card, I'm gonna get $1.50 back that I could then apply to it. So basically my total is now $98.50 that I have to pay back instead of the $100. Well, that doesn't mean a lot when you paying for most of your expenses on your credit card, then you're going to end up getting a lot of that money back. So if I buy my groceries on it, my gas on it, all of those things, I pay for it with my credit card, then I'm getting like a 1.5% discount on all of the things I'm buying, if you want to think about it like that. So again, it's the same way of just using what you're already doing to be able to get more money back and set yourself up well for the future. The third tip I have is related to a credit card. Well, I do recommend that you get a credit card, and I actually, am kind of mad at myself for how long I waited to get a credit card because I was so scared of debt originally. You don't want to carry a balance on your credit card. So what that means is whenever you're going to buy things on your credit card, let's say you're putting your groceries and your gases and maybe even your utilities on your credit card, you want to make sure that you're paying that off every month. So whenever your statement bill comes due, you want to make sure you pay the entire balance that was for at least that statement. This is also really important in thinking about your credit card not as this extra money that you just have, but instead as just delaying your payment. So if you have $500 on your credit card and you have $1,000 in your bank account, you shouldn't think, oh, I have $1,000. You should really be thinking, I have $500 in my bank account because 500 of that needs to go to pay my credit card. If you carry your balance, so you only make your minimum payment, which will still keep you in good overall credit, that means that that balance is going to roll over, and then the interest is actually going to gain on that balance. So if you're rolling over $100 and you keep rolling that over for out a year, a lot of credit cards have between a 12% and 20% interest. So if you're at a 20% interest rate, that means in that year you're going to pay $20 just to keep that $100 rolling on that credit card. This overall can easily allow you to start building up credit card debt that's going to be really difficult to pay off instead of just paying the total balance every single month. So if you can, you really want to think about it in that you're going to pay your balance every single month so that you're never going to gather up that credit card debt that could be possible if you're just buying what you want on your credit card and not actually paying. So the fourth tip I have is to start investing even if you can only invest a little. So even if you only have like $1 or $5 extra a month, try and put that into some form of investing, whether that's stocks or bonds, something where your money can actually grow. I think this is really hard to do whenever you're in grad school because you're living so tightly with your money. But if you can start just setting aside a little bit, thinking about the future and starting to see that grow, I think it's really helpful and it's going to set you up better later. So when I was in grad school, I opened an acorns account. So I'll have them linked in the description below too if you're interested. But acorns will basically, you can auto transfer your money over. So I think every month I transferred about $10 over. And then it will grow it into designated portfolios. So you basically go with how aggressive versus conservative do you want to be, and it will grow it accordingly. Now, the interesting thing about acorns is you cannot choose your stocks, but you can get what's called fractional shares, which means if you only have $1, they could still buy into Google, which is like thousands of dollars per share. You can own like $1 of a Google stock. So acorns is a really good option if you are looking for like someone else to completely manage it. You don't have to worry about it. And for students, there's actually no fee associated with having an acorns account. So I'll have them linked below if you're interested in that. But I also wanted to introduce you to Robinhood, which I will also have linked below. Robinhood is where I now do my investing, and it's because it allows me to choose my individual stocks or index funds. And so if you're just getting started and you don't want to go with, someone else managing it, you want to kind of see what stocks, choose your stocks, buy and trade, all of that, I would suggest just starting with an index fund. So an index fund is basically just a group of stocks of different companies that, fulfill a specific purpose. So for me, the majority of my investing, even on Robinhood, goes into the S&P 500. It's basically the top 500 companies. So index funds will typically move with the overall market. They're not as volatile as investing in a single company because it's multiple companies. So as one company might fall, another company might do better, and that kind of equalizes out. And so that's a good way to just kind of follow that index fund. So where I invest most of my money on Robinhood is actually in the symbol VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. And this just allows me to have some stability. It will lose and gain over time as anything, but this is really money that you're wanting to set away for a long term. You don't want to put it into a stock if you think you might need it in the next, year. You want to kind of let this build over the long term. And again, I'll have both Acorns and Robinhood linked down below. The fifth and final tip that I have for you when thinking about your finances is to think about the long-term consequences of your decisions. And this is particularly important when thinking about buying a cheap item versus an expensive item that will last longer. This was a mistake that I made over and over again in grad school, is I would buy something that was cheap, that would last me, maybe 6 months or maybe even a year, and then it would break on me and I would have to either rebuy it or buy a different option. And overall, if I would have bought the more expensive option initially, it would have actually lasted me longer and I would have saved more money in the long term. This is particularly the case with laptops. Now, if the world was the way I'd want it, every grad student should be given a laptop by their lab so they can actually complete their work without having to worry about spending hundreds of dollars on technology. But that's not the world we actually live in. So in my case, I went through about 4 different laptops while I was in grad school because I did so much heavy computing that it would quickly wear down my laptops and it would take them 15 minutes just to power on or come out of sleep mode. And I was probably spending between $700 and $800 every single time I bought a laptop until my final laptop. And that's when I bought a Surface laptop. And I highly recommend Surfaces if you're a PC user. So I bought the Surface Book 2, which is probably more expensive on the Surface line, but Surfaces overall are just really good laptops. And I've now had this laptop for 4 years and it still works like it did the very first time, right? So overall, if I would have bought the laptop I have now at the beginning of grad school, I probably would have saved myself probably at least $2,000 just because I had to keep buying new ones so that I could keep doing the work that I was doing. So always think about that. Even if you want to go for a cheaper, laptop or something else, but that it might not last for super long, think about, is there an option where I could spend a little bit more now, but it would last a lot longer so it would save me money in the long run? And that's a better option to pursue if you're able to do it. The final tip that I want to leave you with, a little bit of a bonus tip, is to follow personal finance for PhDs. Dr. Emily Roberts has actually created an entire YouTube channel and an entire business around helping PhDs manage their personal finances better. And while this is kind of a one-off video for me, this is like her entire world. And so I would highly recommend, I'll have her YouTube and her website down below. It actually is really good for if you need help with taxes or anything like that while dealing with having a stipend in grad school. She really walks you through that, and actually has tax seminars around tax time too, especially if you're in the US. So what I want to challenge you today is at least pick one of these 5 that you're not currently doing. Either open a high interest savings account, a high reward credit card, open and start investing in an account like Acorns or Robinhood. And then if you have a balance on your credit card, start trying to pay off that complete balance, and or don't carry a balance on your credit card in the future. And then finally, think about the total cost of what you're using and how long it'll actually be good for, so that hopefully you can save money in the long run instead of having to buy things when they wear out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.